No, you're good. You're good. It spoke to me. So again, it's November 16th. This is Conversations in Science, Simplify the Holidays. I'm your host today, Mason Cruz. I'm the Teen STEM Initiative coordinator here at the museum. And again, if you have any questions during this next hour with us, for Sarah or for me, please add in the chat. We will always give about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of these things, so around 6:45 for questions, comments, concerns, anything that y'all want to talk about. So save those questions for then if you want to speak them out loud. So yeah, what we're going to start off with. So I did send everyone a materials list this morning. I'll tell you what we're going to make. So this should take about 5 minutes. I didn't time myself, but I think we'll be okay. So we are going to make these cute little like pop-up little candle flame things. I don't know. I think they're. I was scouring the internet for things that I wanted to make, and I don't know, paper folding. I do collage. I like collage. It just stuck out to me, and I thought it was cool. So we're gonna make these today. It doesn't take too long. You can make a bunch. I made a candy cane one, a red and green one. My partner's Jewish, so like a blue one for Hanukkah. So just a little holiday candlesticks. So what you're going to do, if you do have your ruler, is I kind of made a cheat sheet. You're going to cut 2 strips of whatever color paper you want. You're going to measure 1.5 inches. Draw your line down the length of your piece of paper. You can also do it the width. It's just going to be a little shorter. So this is length. This is width. Doesn't get as many pretty folds, but they do look nice next to each other once you make a few of them. So if you want, that's an option. So again, 1.5 inches across, and you are going to cut 2 strips. So you will have 2 different color strips eventually. I'll give you a minute. These are what we're going to use to more or less, reminds me of weaving, but we're going to fold. We're going to do some weaving with some glue, but I'll give you another minute. So 1.5 inches wide, as long as the paper as you'd like. You can use the length or the width. And then what you're going to do, I wrote glue me part 1. So take 2 edges, 2 sides of your 2 strips, and you're going to overlap them, and with a couple dabs of glue or a glue stick. You don't really need much. I'm used to teaching a lot of first graders lately, so if I don't mean to belittle anybody. So glue on the edge, not too much, otherwise your paper will get all soaky. My glue, of course, isn't working. All right, there we go. All right, mine's glued. So you're gluing over the corners, right? Press it down pretty good. Give it a second. And then what you're going to do is basically you're just going to fold back and forth all the way until the end. So red over white, white back over red, or whatever colors you are using, and so on and so forth until it shrinks and gets really tiny. So back and forth, kind of like you're doing weaving a basket. All right. I did not cut mine very straight. So I'm going to trim off this excess little piece of paper. So you should get something like this. You got a square now, right? Unfold it. It'll start to go. You are, Samantha, I'll let you in. Sorry. What you're going to do then is you're going to take a little bit of glue once again, right on the top glue that together. I switched it up. So now you've got like an accordion. It should stretch out, right? What you are finally going to do is on your orange paper, your red paper, whatever color you want to make your flame, or if you just have white paper and you want to color it, it's totally cool. You are going to start. You need to have this box right here. You need a 1 inch by ½ inch little rectangle, and then it's up for artistic interpretation what you want to do. But mine, right, little flame teardrop symbol on the top of that box. I say make that box. There's something that they didn't say when I found it, but I found it was much easier. You can glue it down easier, right? So when you get that fold, when you fold it up, your flame will stick up instead of trying to figure out how to glue it to make it stick. So if you have that little fold, you can put the glue on that little box that you're cutting out, and then you will glue it. And then last but not least, oh, I forgot that I cut these 2 little ones in. So there you go. There's that, right? The dotted line. So you know where to fold it. So then you can glue that folded line down. And then you got the same shape shrunk, right? You're going to glue that in the center of your flame, because we all know flames are lots of different colors. I should have made a blue flame. I was thinking about this today. I thought that would have been cool. You glue that to the top, and then you will glue that right on top of your little spring. And then there you go. You got, oh, it took us 6 minutes. You got a 6-minute craft to do with your grandchildren or by yourself, or to decorate your house, or whatever needs a little more holiday cheer, right? So with that, I am going to introduce Sarah. I'm Sarah. I'm Baillie. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm introducing Sarah Baillie. She's here with us. She's got about a half hour or so presentation for us, and then she's here to answer any of your questions until 7 o'clock. So I am here. I'm in the background. I will stop my video so I don't distract anyone. But again, like I said, please throw things in the chat. We'll make sure we get those questions answered for you. Sarah, it is all you. Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Mason. And thanks you all for attending. So yeah, today I'm going to talk to you about simplifying the holidays. And with a smaller group like that, so it's a little more intimate, I like it to be a little more conversational. So please feel free to throw in your questions in the chat as we go, and I'm happy to answer along the way instead of waiting for like a whole half hour to answer all your questions. So throw those in whenever you'd like. I'm going to start screen sharing. Oh, I still need screen sharing privileges, Mason.
Okay. Let's figure that out. Oop, wrong person. Sorry. Spotlight for everyone. Make host. Make co-host. Wonder if I just make you the host, if that would work.
Okay.
We're gonna try that. Sorry. Thank you for being flexible, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you.
That worked. Okay. Cool.
Yep. All right. So hopefully you're all seeing my screen that says Simplify the Holidays. So hi. I'm Sarah Baillie. I am an organizer with the Center for Biological Diversity. I use she, her pronouns. For those of you who cannot see me, I am an average-sized white woman with brown hair and brown eyes, and I am talking to you from my home office. I'm located on Wenhodran and Haudenosaunee land, also known as Buffalo, Western New York. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you about the holidays today, kind of right as we're leading into a big kickoff for the holiday season. So there's me. And just to give you a little more background on the Center for Biological Diversity, we are a national environmental nonprofit that helps protect wild species and the places they call home. We do this through a combination of science, law, and creative media. And we have a whole bunch of different programs that I've listed here on the screen, working on different areas of this. I work within our population and sustainability program. We're largely education and outreach focused. And we help people understand the impacts that our human population and its associated pressures have on the environment. And this graphic to the left I like because it shows a representation of all the different species we've helped protect. And From the inside of the circle out, it goes reptiles, amphibians, birds, mammals, fish, invertebrates, and plants. So we work with everything from the tiniest little bugs and mollusks to large charismatic megafauna like grizzlies and wolves. So when we talk about human population pressure, a big part of that is how we consume. And we know in a high income country like the US, that's quite a bit more than other places in the world. So that's going to be the focus of this presentation today. But it's not all going to be bad news. I am going to give you action steps you can take and ways you can improve your environmental footprint around the holidays. So a couple of years ago, we completed a large national survey. And one of the findings of that was that 3 out of 4 people in the US think the average American consumes too many natural resources. So we're aware that this is an issue, consumption's an issue. So what can we do about it? So through people power, obviously there's 2 different levels you can be working on these, the individual level and the broader systems at play. Today's gonna be focused on individual systems, and not because I want to put all the pressure on individual people, but I personally find it really empowering to have ways I can make change in my day-to-day life while we wait for the corporations and everything to catch up. So a couple of the main things I'm going to be sharing today is our Simplify the Holidays campaign and our So Kind alternative gift wish list platform. And on the right is a little graphic here. Kind of a different spin on the hierarchy of needs, but for how you can do gift giving. So kind of going from top to bottom is sort of where the focus should be, from more to less. So giving memories like memberships, event tickets, and experience days, giving your time like sharing skills, help, and spending only time, gifts that upcycle, buying secondhand, making, ethically buying, or it's not ethically buying, regular buying. So some other stats and facts. So as we know, consumption is an issue. Consumption and waste is an issue year round, but it is quite a bit more around the holidays towards the end of the year. So we actually conducted an analysis last year showing that Americans generate 23% more tons of waste in December than in any other month of the year. I think we'd seen a similar stat around in a lot of the articles about holiday waste, I think setting around 25%. We can never find a citation for that, so we decided to crunch the numbers ourselves and get something a little more up-to-date and accurate, which wasn't that far off. And that also equates to about a little less than 6 million tons more waste in December than other months of the year, which, if you like visualizations, is over 28,747 airplanes. So quite a bit. And that's going to be the extra packaging, wrapping paper, ribbon, extra food from events and whatnot. So a lot of different factors that goes into that. And then some other stats and facts from a more recent survey on holiday perceptions is we found that 91% of respondents agree that the holidays are too materialistic, which is up 78% from a survey done back in 2005. Another 86% think holidays should be more about friends and family. 24% of respondents want fewer or no material gifts. And about a quarter of respondents think buying material gifts is stressful, which I'm sure we can all relate to. And that comes from a good place. You want to find the perfect gift for people. Just trying to figure out what that is and what they're going to like. It comes from a place of good that you want to show how you care. Like that's the core effort behind giving gifts. So we're going to give you some inspiration for other ideas to help you achieve that. So the good news is people are willing and interested in simplifying their holiday traditions. About 66% of holiday shoppers will pay more for sustainable products, and younger generations are leading the way on this. And 68% of all respondents were likely or very likely to give gifts of experience, and 68% were likely or very likely to purchase handmade or make their own gifts. So what can we do about this? When people talk about why they love the holidays, they usually describe spending time with family, friends, eating good food, and having fun and relaxing. Notice the gifts are not the immediate thing here. So we want to encourage celebrating holidays wrapped in more meaning and less stuff. And we want holidays with wildlife-friendly gifts and traditions that encourage creativity, increase connection, ease stress, save money, reduce waste, and help the environment. We want this to be a win-win-win. So with that, we have our Simplify the Holidays campaign that can help you with this. So I will not be able to put this, I'll make sure to put this in the chat at the end for everyone for easy access. But simplifytheholidays.org, pretty easy to remember. It's got all kinds of great resources on it. Just looking around the top, you can see we've got more about the gift guides, earth-friendly tradition, stats and facts, and a contact page. It's largely focused on the winter holidays right now, but we are trying to expand more into Halloween, Valentine's Day, summer holidays, kind of across the board of anywhere we can reduce waste and consumption. I've actually published a couple op-eds in the Buffalo News about being less wasteful with Halloween decorations and Halloween costumes. So we do have more information about any holidays you're interested in. So yeah, these are some of the parts of the website I mentioned. These are real concrete ideas of how to like enact a less wasteful holiday. And then if you can't tell that we don't love stats, we do love stats and facts, we've got some really interesting comparisons here. So these are a bunch of shareable graphics we have. So, you know, when you typically see gift guides, you see what the people's interests are. This is for the wildlife lover. So perhaps you usually give someone a stuffed animal of their favorite critter. But most stuffed animals are made from a lot of polyester, synthetic fabrics, which has quite a large carbon footprint in their production and a lot of raw materials that go into it. And that one plush toy can result in 51 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions. As opposed to if you got someone who loves animals, maybe a membership or day's admission to your local wildlife center, which is only 41 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions from driving, but that's based on a 100-mile round trip. So that would be like quite a ways away. You probably have options much closer. And what's nice about that is also usually your cost of admission goes towards supporting a nonprofit, which is great. And then just going to some holiday specifics you can find on our website. In terms of the winter holidays, we've got information about Christmas tree alternatives, more of these shareables, holiday advice about how to have these conversations and shift these traditions. And we have stuff for the fall holidays and Valentine's Day as well, including any op-eds or blog posts we've written on the topic for any number of outlets. Our gift guides are a really great addition. So these all go to Pinterest boards for inspiration. So they are broken out into these different categories I've been describing. So if you go to Simplify the Holidays and you click on any of these, it'll take you to a Pinterest board with so many great ideas for inspiration. So we've got a category for DIY handmade gifts, experiential gifts, skill sharing, donations, food, those that support the solidarity economy, secondhand gifts, and more about our So Kind registry, which I'm going to explain later. And we've got a really handy QR code here. If you want to pull up the camera on your smartphone and focus in on that, I believe that will take you right to the gift guide section of the website, so you can start perusing that. So some people really do like the effort of wrapping up gifts, putting them under the tree, you know, having something to like physically give to someone. And there's still plenty of good options out there for that. You can gift someone a good habit to help them be more green, thinking, you know, reusable water bottles, tote bags, that kind of thing. If you choose to buy from a store, it's always great to support a local business, buying from a BIPOC-owned business. And we also have a whole section of the website now dedicated for how to find secondhand gifts. So again, we've got a really handy QR code here, where again, you can, you know, go right to that portion of the website if that is something that interests you. So diving in more to this gift giving and sort of like the asking portion of things. So unfortunately, 3 in 5 Americans admit to lying about liking a gift they've received. And nearly a third of people who accepted a gift they didn't like just put it in the trash. And many gifts, even when we do make the effort to return them to the store, sometimes end up in a landfill anyway. So while I don't have a specific slide here, I will say part of this is we want to destigmatize regifting, because that doesn't mean it's, you know, someone else might enjoy it, and that's better than it ending up in a landfill. So that's my pitch on that, normalize regifting. So with that, I encourage folks to make wish lists on our So Kind registry and wish list platform. So Kind is a platform to encourage alternative gift, all these types of gifts I've been describing. It works like any other registry or wish list platform. You make your account. It's all free to create. You can make, I think, an unlimited number of lists. It's basically an entirely blank slate of whatever you want. It does break it out into the categories, which I'll show you here. So when you want to add a gift to your registry, you can put in a title of the gift, a description, and then you can click the category it is. So handmade, time, experience, Skillshare, charity, all that good stuff. There's further customization actions. You can, choose a picture that helps illustrate it. You can upload your own picture. So a lot of room for customization here. So here's an example. This is actually when I used So Kind a few years ago for my wedding registry. I really enjoyed the creativity. It was definitely a lot more than I could do with Amazon or Target. One example I always like to share is the honeymoon dog sitter. We're going on a honeymoon that our dog could not join us for. So someone could either contribute to a fund to hire someone, or someone could have offered to be the dog sitter. We're moving, so I had a moving fund, but we also asked for experience gifts like a date night and a national park pass. And we've actually revamped So Kind recently. So this is what the newer registries look like. There's, fun little borders you can customize with and include pictures for. And there's also this really neat function that makes So Kind really unique called give lists. So this is where you can make a list of gifts and offerings you'd like to offer your loved ones, and then they can go to this give list and select it. So if alternative gift giving is something that really appeals to you, but you're not quite sure how to approach it, or your family, you say this idea, but they don't know what that means, this is a great way to facilitate it from the other end. So on the one side, wish lists are great because there is something useful about explicitly asking for what you're interested in. That helps you avoid maybe the sweater that's not quite your color or size, if you're really interested in maybe cooking lessons instead. And give lists allow you to showcase this of what you can offer your family. So we also have sample wish lists and give lists on the website as well that you can look at. And this is a screenshot of that. So this is a sample holiday family give list. So you can see some of the items they have is dog sitting. We're not ready to own a dog of our own, but would be happy to do some practice with watching yours. So a great thing you can offer folks, whether that's babysitting, pet sitting, house sitting, offering to be a camping buddy, offering to do donations to someone's charity. So a ton of ideas of creativity where you can make this really flexible for people too, in terms of what charity they want to donate to, or what your loved one's interests are. And while we've had So Kind for a couple of years, we did a lot of exciting updates to it this year. It's now mobile friendly, so you can do this on the go, which is great. If you come up with a great idea, you can add it really easily from your phone. Similar to the gift guides that we have on Simplify the Holidays, we have some for all kinds of occasions on So Kind. And then we do have a series of explainer videos to just walk you through the website. Sometimes it can be tricky to learn any new platform, so we have nice tutorials to walk you through that. So again, mobile friendly, work on your list anywhere, anytime, especially if you've got holiday travel plan, you're in the car, at the airport, you can, still be getting that holiday list done. And we have gift guides by event. And that's what makes it a little different from the Simplify the Holidays one, because So Kind is good for any kind of celebration or occasion. May it be wedding, baby shower, birthday, holiday, graduation, anything. We have them specifically broken out by category because sometimes your ask might be different depending on the event. And then once you click into that, that will take you to the Pinterest, and then you can see those are broken down into the different categories again. So if any, you can really dive into any of those areas that are of interest to you. And on YouTube, we have our nice little explainer videos that just is me walking you through on the website, like it's recording my screen. So we try to make this as user-friendly and streamlined as possible. And I like to share some of my own personal examples of this. So a few years ago, I was home for the holidays, and I grew up outside of Philly. So when I'm home, we try to come up with some activities to do as a family. And that's usually what I like to give as a gift. So my dad is a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. So first I looked into tickets for a game, and those were out of my price range. But what I did find on the website was they do stadium tours. And those I think ran like $5 a person. They were very affordable. So we went with the whole family. It was a 2-hour tour, super cool. You get to go in the locker room, on the fields, all these, the press boxes, all these cool places. And there's a funny thing. So the pictures on the top left is me, my dad, and my sister in the locker room. The picture below that is as you're going out to the field. And these pictures to the right are my personal favorite. We were told when we went in the locker room, there's a big logo on the floor and to do not step on the logo because it's bad luck. My mom was not paying attention and stepped on it and got in trouble. And the punishment was to sing the Eagles fight song in front of the whole tour. And her and this woman in the teal sweater or scarf next to her also did it. So they both had to sing. You can see this is not a small group we're with. And my mom was not happy about it, but it was a really hilarious memory for the rest of us. So this is my pitch for getting creative with your sports fans. We know there's all kinds of merch out there for all the teams. But so there's the obvious choice of like tickets to a game is a great gift of experience, but isn't always budget affordable. So I like to show, most people don't know stadium tours are an option. So I like to show those as a good gift idea. But we know that, if your family is really, if this, exchanging physical gifts is very like a big part of the tradition, it can be hard to get people to shift and think outside the box. So we do have some language on the website to kind of help you have these conversations. So this is just an example of a way you can approach this by saying, this year, I really want to make sure that I'm giving you gifts you actually want. I don't just want to add clutter to your lives. I've heard about this online service called So Kind that lets family make unique, memorable holiday wish lists. Here's a sample holiday wish list. Wouldn't it be fun if our families created something like that this year? So giving them, a tool to work with, to put the ask out there. It doesn't have to be seen as like bad etiquette to ask for what you're like actually want. It's a way to make it easier for your family and loved ones as well. And these are just some other options we've seen. I've seen this one for kids that usually makes the rounds on social media. The idea to give them one thing they want, one thing they need, one thing to wear, and one thing to read. And then gift exchange alternatives, where instead of, getting one or several gifts for a bunch of people, you kind of have something that's a little more like one-on-one, like a white elephant exchange party, or a secret gift exchange. So there's some different ways to approach it. You can put your own twist on it, like doing white elephant or secret gift, making sure it's secondhand. You can give it any of these themes to the like experiential gifts or something like that, to kind of get people thinking away from material goods. And then just going into some decorating ideas, getting creative with our decorations. I love this tree one where it's made of books. If you're someone who has, is there a way to create your decorations out of things you already have? So if you have a lot of books, can you make a book tree and throw some lights around it? Getting creative with your wrapping. If you do have physical gifts you want to wrap, can you use, the brown paper shopping bags, fabric scraps, any like wrapping that can be reusable. There's lots of fun, creative ways. We've got a lot of that on the Pinterest boards to look at. I'm personally a fan of just using, if I can get pine branches from my backyard and using that as garland along surfaces, that can be great. And I'm pretty sure I've got most of my Christmas decorations from like estate sales and secondhand. A lot of that holds up really well. So don't be afraid to look there first too, at your local Goodwill. And then looking at what people say is the most meaningful holiday activity. The big one being having or cooking a traditional communal meal with family or friends. Exchanging gifts is still up there. Attending a religious service, volunteering or other. 96% of the people in the survey celebrate Christmas. And then just this is a separate campaign, but offers a lot of useful stuff as well. Since food is such a big part of the holidays, we have a lot of ways to shift that to be plant-based and help reduce the food waste associated with that. So you can find that at takeextinctionoffyourplate.com. So there's a shopping guide, a cooking guide, a fridge guide, how to reduce food waste. So a lot of great resources there on the food side of things. And then we like to try to encourage people to make a pledge to give one alternative gift. You don't actually have to type in the chat, but maybe just do it mentally. But yeah, and like I'd be happy to brainstorm with folks about good alternative gift ideas, good ideas you've given or received over the years. And here's some resources, which I will put in the chat. So we'll have the link to Simplify the Holidays, So Kind, the videos, some shareable social media shareables, and then a couple surveys and responses we have. We love to solicit and get feedback from folks on what ideas they have, what they've experienced, because that's just that much more information we can put out there. So we have an example of one from a former coworker of ours, which says, what I did for gifts when I was a poor college student was do paint by numbers and frame them and give them to friends. It doubled as my decompressing and relaxing time and also as a gift, which I thought was really fun and creative. Oh. And yeah, with that, I guess I finished a little early, but I'm happy to spend more time on questions and brainstorming with folks. So I'm going to stop sharing, but then I will copy and paste those resources into the chat.
Thank you. What is your go-to, like your actual one that you've put to practice? You know, DIY gift or like easiest thing, it doesn't have to be a gift, like easiest holiday hack that you've been able to implement, right? It's nice to see it all and be like, yes, we're gonna do all of this, but like we can't do it all year one per se, right?
Totally. Okay, so one I actually did, and I think because I gave this presentation a couple of years ago, and I wanted to switch it up, so I didn't include it in this presentation. I made wool dryer balls. So wool dryer balls, it kind of goes along with the gifting a sustainable habit, and they're a good alternative to dryer sheets. So, they're reusable. You can put a little essential oil on them for a nice smell, but they help with the static. They help things dry. But you can make them really easily so I bought a thrifted wool sweater. So it was like $2 at Goodwill. You cut it up into scraps, and then you do have to buy some wool yarn to wrap it with, but you don't need that much. So super, find a wool sweater at Goodwill, wrap it in yarn. There's lots of great tutorials online. I'm sure there's some on our Pinterest board. And that, it was just super easy. And it was like a very easy stocking stuffer. Like I made them one night watching it. I made like a dozen of them while watching a movie one night. So that was my like very easy entry level. Another one is I feel like don't undervalue the time and service category. I think people don't always know like how appreciated that is. Like there was one holiday I was home from like college or something, and like the rest of my family was like working. So I was just like around and kind of bored. And my sister's like, you can organize my closet. And I was like, I love that. So I was happy to help with that. And then it turned into a whole cleaning out a lot of t-shirts she had, like way too many, but like some were sentimental. So then the deal we made was I would take them with me and make a t-shirt quilt. So definitely like a few steps up, like on the trickiness, like that involved a sewing machine, a little more like crafty knowledge, but not that hard. Like again, great tutorials online, like not that hard to do for someone who like, it was my first time using a sewing machine. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways you can like help folks with pet sitting, babysitting, all that. Like that's huge.
Reminds me of I don't know, when I was young, giving and getting coupons, right? And giving your parents.
It sounds like a little hokey, but if you genuinely like intend on help, like
doing them.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that is also the coupons, like we have templates for those on the gift guides, because that is still a nice way to be able to like, some people really love having something to hand to someone and not just tell them like, oh, I'll help you with this or that, but like, here is the certificate for it. I'd be curious to hear from the rest of the audience if you all have alternative gifts that you've given, received.
I was just going to ask that.
by a group tonight. And I will pitch this all. We apparently have a giant snowstorm coming this weekend. So what a great weekend to hunker down and make your list and
True.
not go out to the stores. You can, I mean, the good thing about a lot of experience things, you can buy like gift cards for theaters, like, and you can do that all online from the comfort of your home. You do not have to be out in these malls.
So there is Holly, one of our guests did say for those packages show, and I love the pine tree or garland idea. Was that crinkled brown bags? Question mark. Thanks for the idea about getting wrapping paper if I go to Goodwill, though not sure where they would put it. I make barrettes out of Dollar Tree felt and embroidery thread. There you
Oh,
go.
nice. Yeah, I think that was just like a typical brown bag you'd get at the grocery store these days. So, you know, just cut those open and they can be used to wrap. I'm trying to think what are some of their ideas.
I don't know if I've ever seen this, but I feel like wrapping with actual cloth that you could reuse like I've never seen anyone do that. I don't know why.
Yeah,
just,
right. Or I feel like you're giving you can give someone a scarf and then that like
yeah,
gift
exactly.
within a gift.
Sarah writes, experience gifts are our favorites. We get memberships, including the Science Museum. Thank you.
Good pitch.
We appreciate it. And date night gift cards for local businesses. Yeah, restaurant week, local restaurant week. That's a big one. Thank you for sharing.
I'm trying to think other good I've been gifted beer from a local breweries with a growler, which again, that is gifting greener. That is reusable. I can refill that rather than using additional cans and bottles. So that's a good one. I'm a big fan of the zoo and museum membership category of experience gifts.
I suggest everyone buy whoever a loved one a membership to the botanical gardens will get you through the winter. It's always warm, all that greenery, that seasonal depression and all that stuff. The botanical gardens is very underrated for mood stabilization. I used to go there a lot. Sam also writes, totally made a bunch of drawstring bags on the sewing machine last year and then put something inside of that as wrapping. I've used cords from old hoodies and shoelaces too as the drawstring.
Oh, that's so good. I did not think of that. I love that.
Upcycle Pro.
That's for the
Yes,
biodiversity.
absolutely.
Oh, I remember a good upcycling. I had these great like dark green rain boots I had for like a solid 10 years. And then just one winter I put them on and there's a big crack at the bottom, but I decorated them with paint and they are my impromptu stocking now. The green works out well. Like, I guess if I had like orange, like crazy polka dot, maybe that would not be as Christmassy, but the green ones worked out well for me. So I really enjoy those.
Oh, there we go. I filled mine with soil and have herbs growing on the doorstep right now.
Oh, that's
there you go.
Fantastic. I mean, I'll ask a harder question. Do folks feel like there's barriers to kind of implementing some of this that I have not covered, or, you know, specific things that they think would make this trickier?
I could see a barrier maybe being those folk who say that they are not crafty or not, you know, I'm not DIY. And it's like, I don't know, from my perspective, at least from listening to you, it's there's enough on, especially with the website, there's enough on the internet that even if you believe you are not super skilled in something, that if you scroll enough, you'll find something that'll reach you, right? Is that kind of safe to say?
Yeah, and it's good to have these conversations. You know, we're talking even before Thanksgiving, so it's a good time. You have some time to plan. I'll say one I've seen that's pretty simple is making these like jarred mixes. So and like it can be for anything. So like there's like hot cocoa ones where you put, I guess, like cocoa powder, sugar. It's all just putting things in a jar in pretty layers, and like it looks really nice. And then it's a fun consumable for someone, but truly it's just putting things in a jar. So I don't think that's terribly complicated. But there's ones for like baking mixes. So probably, just like doing the flour, sugar, whatever. I've seen soup mixes. So you're just doing like beans and lentils and whatnot, but those look really nice, and they seem relatively easy and probably easy to make big batches of. Oh yes, homemade sugar scrubs. That is a great idea.
Bath bombs. We do bath bombs here with kids.
Ooh.
Definitely.
Right, looking for kid crafts, right? That's a certain level
Yeah.
of simplicity. So just focus your search there, and hopefully anyone can. I think it's, yeah, no, we've heard that before, that kids are kind of the trickier thing of like it's hard to fully like shift things. But maybe that's where the wish lists come in handy to help guide folks a little more.
I think I'm gifting everyone I mean, there is some level of material need that I need to buy, but and don't tell any of my friends, guys, if you know any of them, but I want to gift vermiculture bins. So a year long, forever, composting for your home. Get rid of all your food scraps, keep it under keep it inside, indoor composting. I'm really into indoor composting. And then if all my friends, everyone's got flowers and plants nowadays, right? You can use all that nice good soil that your worms are making, and put it right back to your flowers or to your vegetable gardens in the winter or in the spring. That's my idea this year, because I know someone where I can get pretty cheap worms. Worms by the dozen, actually by the pound. But if anyone wants to start vermicomposting, we can help you with that. A little off track.
But hey, that's like sort of a skill share as well. Like if you like also teach someone how to maintain that,
To do something,
like,
yeah,
that's
right.
a very unique gift.
Oh, I had thought of something and maybe I missed it. Christmas trees. Is there what is it? What what's the I don't know. What's
The
the meat
most
and potatoes
eco-friendly
on Christmas
tree.
trees and not having a gajillion Christmas trees going into, the dumps after Christmas?
So there is, I will say, I think we have an article about that on Simplify the Holidays specifically, but from what I can remember of that, I mean, if you're cutting down a tree or buying one, there are ways to compost them and like put them back out, like, keep them out of the landfill. I think you want to make sure it's pesticide free. You don't want to do more harm out there. But I've seen it where like wildlife rehab centers you can do, or like farms you can donate them, and like animals love playing with dead Christmas trees. I've seen even if you just have a big enough backyard in the space, like just chucking it out in the back, especially when it's really snowy here, that's nice, like little shelter for birds to hang out in. So that's some great options. I personally I have an artificial tree, but I got it secondhand from my local Buy Nothing group. So I got it for free and I kept it out of a landfill. I travel around the holidays, so as much as I love the real tree, I don't need a fire hazard in my home while I'm gone. So and yeah, and then just thinking about like the creative ways you could do one instead. I remember my sister sent me a picture when she was renting a room in a house, so she had very little space, but she like made one out of string lights on the wall, so like very minimalist. But there's a lot of cool ways to get creative with your Christmas tree. I've seen people try to have them potted. I think you can rent them where they're in a pot and they're in the house, and then someone comes and takes it back and keeps it alive till the next year. So definitely some feasibility issues with that, but like definitely a cool take on it to try to keep it as a live tree, not a dead tree in your house.
I like the idea of a pet Christmas tree. You see
I tried
palm
it one year.
trees.
It lived in front of a heating vent and did not thrive. But so
It-
our lesson was learned there. But I think with better instructions, I'm sure these rental companies like want you to keep it alive and help you figure that out.
yeah. Wonder if it's a matter of making sure that it's fertilized while it's in your house, but then getting it back outside. More
Yeah,
sun
yeah, I
outside? Is
assume
it?
they eventually outgrow being in a house and like get planted
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's interesting. Some, like you said, there's got to be people that everyone keeps everything. They keep all these tropical plants inside. You'd think you could keep a pine inside, maybe.
Yeah.
Sam writes. Oh, there's a couple people, a couple things down here. Sorry, everyone. Holly, I started making purses out of the top of jean pants and even use the bottom of the jeans, and makes a lot of time, or it takes a lot of time, excuse me. That's a possible objection. Not sure if people will appreciate versus a Gucci or something. And then Sam writes, we had a farmer asked for carved Halloween pumpkins to be brought by to feed the farm animals instead of trash or composting. Yep, I saw a lot of pumpkin pickups this year.
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't
Like a
something
lot
I'd
of
seen in
them.
previous years. The deer got to mine before Halloween even, so I moved them from my front yard to my backyard and let them have at it the rest.
I
once
feed my
November hit.
pumpkins to my worms. I do want to note the time. We do have 10 minutes. So don't shy away. We definitely have the time if things pop in or out of your heads. Keep adding stuff. Or unmute yourself and say hey.
What about the food side of things? Do folks find they often have a lot of food to waste? Are people really into their leftovers and don't have that issue?
I know I'm pretty bad with food waste. I eat leftovers, but also there's generally two people in the house, three when my son is here on every other week, but I feel like food is sold in bigger amounts than even what three people might need to eat. So like I find if the food I can't feed to my worms or to the other random animals in my house, I know I struggle with food waste. I find myself being upset at the amount of food I sometimes throw in my garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely gotten more on the kick of, especially now we're like soup season. And you make a big pot and like I can eat the same thing for a few days, eventually get tired. So like just knowing I take one old takeout container, reuse, and then put that in the freezer. Like I just put half it in the freezer from the get-go and then have it for later, and then I'm excited about it again. And then maybe my favorite food waste hack is making my own veggie broth from scraps. So I keep like a gallon Ziploc bag in my freezer and like onion ends, pretty much any vegetable. I think sometimes people like advise against like anything on the more bitter side, but I pretty much throw everything in. You fill up that freezer bag and then put a big pot on the stove with like 10 cups of water, let it sit for 2 hours, strain it out, put it in jars. I usually do like 2-cup jars, put those in my freezer, and I pretty much have like a cycle of veggie broth all the time because I always have more veggie scraps, work through the broth. So that's a nice trick. And then that limits or eliminates the packaging of store-bought broth. Very, very easy.
I think I have one final good question. If you could give us like a cheat sheet, like a 3-step cheat sheet that we could put a magnet on and stick to our fridge, that because again, I'm speaking for myself, I guess, but like I hear all these great things. I know I do my best to participate in as many of these things as possible, but sometimes it feels overwhelming, right? It sometimes feels like, man, that seems like that's a whole like 3 more steps I have to take in order to be green or to do the right thing. And I feel like sometimes that that time thing. We all have so limited time in our heads, or at least that's how we feel sometimes, especially if you worked all day or whatever, kids at home. Is there like a three steps or three main things that if we wrote it out and we saw those things on the fridge, we could be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed. I like keeping your veggie scraps in your freezer. Like that's an easy one in my head now. Now that like take up that little bit of a, square yardage in your freezer. It's not that much, right? And then when you want to go make your soup, you've got that bag. But something like that. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. It's tricky because I feel like some stuff involves planning. So like thinking.
Yeah, I know. See, I know.
Let's say like, I don't know, it's like if a good idea pops in your head, like write it down. Like sometimes like inspiration strikes anywhere at a weird time of year, like go with it. Don't be like, holidays are forever away. I'm not worried. Like,
I like that.
think about it. Like, and like, I think for gifts, it's just like, talk to your, like, don't just sit there stumped. Like when you have conversations with your loved ones and hear about their interests, like take note and like, then you don't, I don't know if you feel weird about asking someone like what they want for their celebrate, like their birthday, holidays, whatever, just like think about what they're generally interested in. Or don't be afraid to ask, because right, that eliminates the guessing game and hopefully does save you time and brain space.
Yeah.
I just have a question for Sarah
Yeah.
about like birthday celebrations. It
Mhm.
just can't for candles. Now that we made the candles out of paper, is there any problem with having candles in terms of the environment?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a good question.
I don't know of any. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's some like that have better ingredients than others, but like I feel like the candles that go in cake are so tiny, so I don't have anything like immediately for or against candles.
Okay, either do I. Just thought maybe you would. Okay.
No,
I
that's a
think
good
they're so fun to
question.
have.
I wonder.
I mean, we should dive into the birthday thing more. That could be the next thing of our Simplify the
Yeah.
Holidays.
What are only thing I see when my science brain goes off, I think, what's that wax made of? Like if it's when it's burning or releasing, but it's like wax is wax. If it's coming from bees, that's not gonna hurt us, right?
Right. And yeah, more like the additives that get put in maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I don't know, maybe if how many people are in the world now, maybe all the birthday candles are opening holes in the ozone, right?
8 billion as of yesterday. So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, I got one. Maybe LED candles, reusable candles that you could use. Then you're saving yourself money. There's like a little light up stick that you just like stuck in your cake, washed it off afterward, saved it for the next year. Maybe that's my Shark Tank idea. Anyway, you guys,
There you go.
it's okay.
Reusable birthday candles.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we're down to Mike, Sue, and Holly. There's three of the six of us that are still here. Do you three have any final questions, comments for Sarah, or should we head out 4 minutes early to enjoy our Wednesday evening? Nail all the wood on our windows for the 6 feet of snow I keep reading.
Getting all the leaves out of the gutter because we had not done that yet.
I'm a big proponent of leaving the leaves where they are. I'm a big caterpillar guy. My caterpillars love the leaves. Oh yeah.
When we're talking about the garland, I collected pine cones and then I put scent on them, like essential oils, and then I put them in a basket for a while around the apartment for fragrance.
That's a great idea.
You can put like clove essential oils or something with the holidays too.
I'm glad you said that, because now that's making me remember all those times I was at Michael's or wherever, and they're selling pine cones for like $40, and like that's a pine cone.
Yeah.
Go find that outside. Holly, that's great.
Yeah, I love all the ideas everyone shared.
There was one other idea too. I keep boxes instead of, well, I guess most people would just throw them out. When like an Amazon box, I keep them all and then I buy wrapping paper and then I have Elmer's glue and keep a window open and then I decorate the plain boxes by putting on the wrapping paper, which is a little involved because I have to use a knife. But it comes out very nicely for a presentation.
Okay,
Instead
and
of
then you
buying.
can save them year to year.
Well, I keep all the, any box, I have them, like even my Slim Fast boxes I use, like any box. Yeah, I mean, I just use them for anything then, even like packing boxes. It's just a little bit labor intensive with the Elmer's glue adhesive situation. And you just have to remember to keep a window open.
Safety first.
Okay, everyone, we are at 6:59. I will say a couple things, closing remarks. Sarah, thank you again. I wasn't here the last time you were with us, but we appreciate you joining Conversations in Science again. I believe there will be another one next month. So those of you who come to these often, keep a lookout for the next one. Gabrielle will most likely be back sitting in this chair behind the board. So I appreciate you all dealing with me, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and stay warm and dry. And again, if you ever have questions, you emails are in the chat. You can, I'll send mine here too. Just in case anything comes up, you can always email me and I can get it to Sarah, or you can email Sarah directly because I saw her email a few bubbles back. If you want to take a look. Sarah, anything else? You feel good?
No, yeah, thanks everyone for attending tonight.
Cool. All right. Well, everyone, have a good night. Thank you very much. Bye.